So I heard you say pump and dump. What's going on in the markets? OM just dropping its pants. Man, it's just been a rug pull. Jesus.
Wild.
What a Monday. Yeah.
No, for sure. I was no, we gave the long really well this morning. Kicked ass, taking names as usual. Looking for this to push off a VWAP right now as we're speaking. We'll see if it does want to push up. Uh, but for now, it's been very volatile. I mean, we have the OM dump that I'm sure you can cover in good detail. But this morning we rolled over and I was looking for a long. Also aware that we are overextended, so I was looking for a long down in here. I was looking for us to mitigate the low into the liquidity zone down here, but we didn't fully come. So I was like, what's going on here? Is this a fake out? And then we pushed up, and I got long right here off of this low here. And I got out right here at VWAP. So for me, it was a nice morning trade, quick like $600. And then it went to Valhalla. And that's okay. I mean, sometimes you want to take maybe 50% of the trade here. For me, it was a very quick scalp trade. Okay. But nonetheless, we came overextended here. We came into an order block up at the highs here, which was pretty good. So we came into the order block, 786, 3 drives up top this morning. Then we rolled over. We got the bounce off the liquidity zone. Higher high, higher low. Continuation out, got long here. This thing went all the way up into our resistance level up top here, which was pretty nice. And then now we have absolutely just rugged everybody. So pump and dump, yeah, for sure. But over the weekend, we've had a lot of volatility. I want to see what you're looking at, OC.
Oh, absolutely. Let me take a look at. Oh, let me just minimize the stuff in here. I'm looking at some altcoins, but I'm gonna get started with Bitcoin, and then we're gonna be moving up. So also, guys, if I get my Discord kicked out, so sorry, something's happened. So let's try to see if that goes the way that it's supposed to. Oh yeah. Oh no. All right. What is it, man? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it is. Sorry, my bad. This time was my bad. All right, perfect. Got it here. So let me get started with Bitcoin, because Bitcoin, the macro time frames, we are in a very good zone right now, right? Let me just zoom out a little bit. And I know it seems a little bit obnoxious, that many trend lines, but now that I zoom out, you'll see that they're not that crazy, right? They're not that much, neither that crazy. Let me just get rid of this thing for a little bit, all right? Let me just remove it out of the way. Perfect. And I want you first to look at these two big lines in here, right? Remember those lines we bought in here thinking that it's going to be going back up. What happens? Took us out. We scale down as it goes downwards, and then as it go upwards, we sold. All right. So basically out of that trade a long time. But look at that. As soon as we went into that gauge or that space, we dumped, right? What am I showing you that? Look at how fast this thing moved to the upside, all right? Within a couple of candles. Can we do it right now? There's a chance, right? And guess where exactly? Measuring the same movement length, right? Measuring the same movement length. Look at that. Where is it going to be taking us? You see where? So if you, I'm not saying that it's going to be pumping. I think it's going to be pumping because of the liquidity zones, right? But if you miss the pump, all right, don't worry. You can get the short there, all right? Nonetheless, before we get that much of a hopium, this is a big resistance. So if you're very bullish, make sure you take some profits as we go up, all right? You don't want to get trapped in here. The first resistance, it is the previous highs and also this trend line. The previous highs marked where this other candle bounced to the downside, all right? And therefore, we could complete a 3 or 4 touched trend line. You see how precise it got? All right. So just so you know that, the next thing I want to talk about, it is the Wyckoff schematics. All right. I know I've been drilling this with you for a long time, but this is the main schematic that we've been following. If we consider that we should be coming downwards, have a little range, a V-shaped recovery, and a high not higher than the previous range, that give us 70% chances of ranging. JR, what's up, bro? And then, based on this structure now, we can start predicting or calculating an inner range and an outer range, right? This outer range, and this is important, this is where we want to be taking our entries, right? But look at the spring in here. The spring is lower than anything else in there, all right? And for some reason, there we go. So let's go and take a visit to Bitcoin. If we consider this like that little range, which doesn't actually fit that great, but there's two chances in here, right? Little range, V-shaped recovery, high, not higher than the previous range, that give us 70% chances of ranging. Having this anomaly here, well then, accepting that anomaly here, we can absolutely create a range based on that structure. You see, inner range, outer range, right? And then what we got? We have a double bottom, the spring. Just because you see a V-shaped recovery here doesn't mean that it's a V-shaped recovery. This is just a sharp bounce, all right? Remember, guys, that we were talking about this on what was it, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago? I don't know. I do remember we were talking about this somewhere around, there we go, Monday. Yeah, Monday the 7th or something like that. And Alex and I was, both speculating that we could be having either a higher low or a double bottom somewhere around here, right? That's what I said. Well, finally our analysis matches, right? But the point is that we were able to create this trend line. It's not about the breakout. It's about your retest. This was, if you remember, my first entry. Why? Because of this little thing in here. Remember, we are now peeking into the outer range for then a bounce. So am I sure that this is the peak? No, you're never sure of it. You just look at the possibilities, right? And depending where is it loaded to, whether that's what you're gonna be aiming for, all right? So in here, I go with cautions, half of an entry, right? Somewhat a good leverage in there, perfect. Then what happens? Now we're cooking with gas. We're not only above our zero line in here, but also we are breaking inside the range. Let me remind you guys, it doesn't matter if it's your favorite symmetrical triangle like Alex's, all right? If it's a
right.
if it's a broader wedge, all right? If it's a range, whatever. The point is that when you encounter a fake out and then breaks back into that range or into that pattern, you have an insane or like a very, very big possibilities, very big chances to hit the opposite zone. All right, it's not the same. Let me zoom in here. It's not the same that you encounter a breakout or a fake out, retest, and off you go. For you to understand that this is not a retest, you need to close a candle or two inside. All right. So when it's already happening, that's when you look for a little bit of a retracement, a little itty bitty flag, a lower time frame, a hiccup, whatever, and you take the leap of faith, right? If you have the right conditions on your oscillator. And then that's what I did. Grab that little itty bitty point and then aiming for the top of that movement. Since this right here, it is it is kind of like an anomaly that I'm trying to get. We don't always have it. It could be a rejection. So I took the leap of faith because my oscillator had the right conditions. And that's what I entered with a half of a position. Now it breaks into the main range, right? That is where we're cooking with gas, all right? Now is as we start looking with bigger eyes, right? And saying, hey, oh yeah, baby, to the moon. Not to the moon, but that's what we started now feeling, right? And we're looking for this retracement. What happened here? Let's go back. It's not about the breakout. And
It's
you
about
have
the
that.
OC.
Oh, there you go. Thank you, brother. And the other, other boxes? No, other blocks. Of course. That's going to be it, man. You're going to have the other
The
blocks.
outer blocks, yeah.
Absolutely, because you have the order block retest, man. That makes so much sense. Yeah. All right, so we have a dynamic reactor. Look at that. You enter in here or whatever you enter in there, whichever you enter with. That was your breakout retest. It's not about your breakout. It's about your retest. And boom shakalaka. All right. Boom shakalaka, not quite yet. We do have a lot of volatility. We could still have a lot of volatility, but the main movement should be to the upside. At least where, guys? To the top of the inner range. All right. We're not aiming at Valhalla. We're not trying to knock CUs out of its cloud. All right. So we're just aiming for to make a buck out of this movement. All right. So what is the outer range or inner range? Here we have a resistance, right? Here we have the median, all right, of the broadening wedge, all right? So let me just get rid of this. And what else we got? That's what you use your indicators for. Look at that. We have a resistance. We have a delta or order block. Sorry, a liquidity zone, all right? What else we got in there? I don't know. We have some volume right here. So far, not that big, right? We do have a high order block right now. So we should be looking for maybe a rejection. So maybe you get a secondary chance. Maybe because this is, look at the parity. They're pretty equal. When you have a parity that they're very equal, they cancel each other. So it just ranges for a bit. So that's why you might have a secondary chance to enter right there. But be careful at this point. We look at how we're compacting on those clouds. You see those clouds, right? I'm going to put it back in here. Look at those clouds. They are compacting. Let me show you last time that we have compacting of clouds like that. A little caveat, we want to see those compactation of clouds up in here. Why? Because the chances for it to go higher, they're limited, and usually they roll back down. Or we want to see the clouds compacting all the way down here, right? Because of the same scenario. The chances of it keep going downwards, it is very minimal, and the actual chances to go to the other side. But having it that close to the zero line, that is worrying. Why? Because compacting of the clouds, it means that we are creating some pressure. It is just talking figuratively, because I know there's some nerds in here in the class. If you shake a bottle of pop or soda, right? Figuratively speaking, most of it we're going to be saying that the pressure increases. It doesn't, physically speaking, but let's just forget about that, right? Physics, who needs them, right? Gravity, whatever the hell is that? Who invented that shit? All right, so we shake, we shake the pop, right? We shake it, we shake it, we shake it, we shake it, we shake it. That is compacting of the clouds, right? Or you put some pressure on that bottle of pop, right? You put the pressure, right? What are you doing? Well, you are making that compression, right? So what are we expecting for that damn thing not to hold? It's gonna burst, right? It's gonna be bursting. Where to? Well, the chances in here is that the caveat here is that we do have a chance to burst up, but also we are higher than lower. So this is a known breakout. How can we maybe predict it? Look at your prime score. And now it's time for me to turn everything off because this is gonna get noisy. All right. One more. There we go. Oh, by the way, this is what we were talking about, right? The inner range. This is not new at all. This is not new at all right? There we go. This is the one that I was looking for, a little bit cleaner. Then you go to your liquidations by Chart Prime. Turn it on. What is it gonna be easier to grab? If you're a market maker, if you own an exchange and you want extra cash for your new Lambo, all right, you need to wreck some people, all right? So you're going to be investing some pocket change to move the market. Maybe you can just move it 3%. So if you can move it 3%, what is 3%? Something like that. Come on. There we go, 3%. So if you can move it 3%, where are you going to be moving it to? To liquidate these guys? Or just to give it to charity? You see that? It's easier to move it upwards, and look at that, to the bright zone. Not only that, to our previous resistance, because that also, if we zoom out on the daily, what we got right freaking there, guys. We have a big AF resistance from a trend line from so far away. So are we bullish? No, we're not, because everything is pointing at an upwards movement, right? But don't tell me that we were bullish here. Don't tell me that we're bullish here. Don't tell me that we're bullish here. We're still, and by the way, this is what it's happening right here. This is what we could be seeing right there. All right. Just so you know, so we are in perspective. I think that this is what's going to happen. Perspective. I think, right? I'm not sure of it. I think that's what's going to happen. In fact, if we go to another big area here, we will see, there we go, that I grabbed these candles and I moved them over here. You see that? So the real magic starts when we overcome this trend line. This trend line, all right? This trend line. We are about to. And the little tail, the two paws, and if we are lucky enough, if extra credits, extra points if you tell me what's that in the audience. It's something that Alex keeps talking about over and over and over. Extra kudos. So let me.
It's magical.
It is, bro. Once, man, I picked that from you.
You
Once you see them,
can't see, it's over.
it's over. Yeah. Oh, the Mexican spaghetti that comes with it, bro. That I really love it, bro. But
That's a side order.
it's exactly balloon dog, exactly. So if you look at even here, right, and let me just paint here. If you look at that, it actually happened here, right? It was just a little more squishy over to the right. You see that? Well, I'm telling you guys, just like Alex mentioned, once you see them, you can't unsee them. So this is what I think is happening, but do not make the same mistake that we did last bear market, thinking that we're still bullish. We're not. We can still have a secondary round. Yes, we could, but that's still no hopium. Until we start making some bullish structure being formed, seriously talking, daily talking, we cannot say that we're bullish, all right? So just to wrap things up and then just pass it over to you, Alex. First things, we need to break this trend line. Second thing, we need to overcome this resistance. And if we keep pushing upwards, that's when I say, you know what, we're bullish. And then we still have a freaking load more to go. So don't worry, you're not gonna make it right. I mean, you're not gonna be making it wrong. Just use your risk management. All right, buy low, sell high, but buy low. All right. So other than that, let me pass it over to you, bro.
Crazy. No, I love it. I love it. It's good. So did you short this or what?
No, man. In fact, that was a stop loss for me. A stop out for me. I was expecting to
Crazy,
long the range. Yeah, it took me by surprise.
So crazy.
Yeah.
I know some people got long down here. I mean, Jesus. My God. Short this morning would have been nice, eh?
Oh
Holy
yeah.
smokes. Nasty. Anybody? Anybody? Look at the S&P here rolling over a little bit right now. So Bitcoin, the thing with Bitcoin right now is it's pretty overextended. I'm looking if we reclaim VWAP for potential long, but nothing yet. Okay. Zooming out here. It's important to note is that right here, Bitcoin, we have nice bottoming structure, peak seeker, push up, all that kind of stuff in here. But the thing is, in my opinion, is we've really, you know me, I'm always going to talk about where liquidity is, right? So for me, we've pushed up pretty aggressively here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we came back down. Now, I would have liked to see, I don't know if this is the high just yet, but I would like to see this high taken out. Okay, over the weekend, we put in that high there, as you can see. So for me, I would like to see, I know we pushed this morning, but I would still like to see the push back up take that high bearish divergence and then go down, that would be ideal for me to short this thing. But a pretty big rejection this morning after coming from some liquidity in here. So is it now or is it then? That's for us to wait and see. If we're going to come down, we need to lose these lows in here. That would be first and foremost. Okay, so Bitcoin's trying to battle here, right? Trying to battle, holding this range, not looking too good. We look at stuff like the Nasdaq. Nasdaq's rolling over as well. Okay, coming back, retesting highs, possibilities. Okay, so these things are all on the table right now. Just to be aware of what's going on in the actual markets. We had some bullish news over the weekend, which did give us like a little bit of a pump on the weekend coming up in here, right? So we had the Friday pump in here, but very, 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 very choppy price action. Okay, like we noticed that this morning when we came to the charts that like the price action here was choppy, 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 then boom, sweep down, choppy, 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 boom, push up. Okay, so right now we are making higher lows, right? I would like to see us to get above here and push up. It's the liquidity at the highs here. I think a bunch of people got short in here, so I would like to see that taken. Now, it doesn't have to do that, okay? But if we're treating this like anything, the key, in my opinion, right now, is we treat this like a range, okay? So if we're zooming out, this is so important, is to be able to zoom out and look at this thing objectively. And what we can see here is that Bitcoin's flipped the point of control, okay? So that's bullish. It has broken out of this bottoming structure in here, which is bullish, okay? So for me right now, I don't want to get in front of the trend, right? But the trend is our friend. So if we're having targets to the upside, for me, I'm really interested in 88, 89,000 to sweep these highs in here. And then it becomes 92, 96. But this is our first kind of area here. If we're treating this like a range, we can see here that we have some liquidity at the highs to take right now. Very possible. Okay. If we do not do that, then I would expect us to come down to the lower part of the range. I'm looking around 81,000 for a potential bounce, but just being prepared is going to be critical. Okay. So I'll share my charts with you guys so you have my levels, but there's a bunch of liquidity as we proceed down here. It's my concern is this area right here. This to me happened really fast, right? For me, I like to see constructive price action. Okay. For me, this was very sweep, 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 right? The thing is, and I think we've talked about it before, is when they push price up and they're putting in the bottom, maybe this is the bottom, but if this is the bottom, they don't want to let you get long, meaning they want as little amount of people down here in long positions. So they're going to move it pretty fast. That's the only thing about this is if they don't come back for this, it's because they're trying to push price up to higher targets. Okay. So as you can see, we have lots of levels on our charts, but you can see all the order blocks and liquidity within this zone here. So it becomes a very, acceptable target value area low. But at the end of the day, look at this, right? We have our money flow point of control in here, right around 81,000. Okay. This is going to act as major support. As you can see in here, we have a big volume node in here, right? So that's going to be major support. If anything, we're range bound into here. Okay. So keep that in mind. It's Monday. So we could have false move Monday, meaning we could push up, get everybody excited, and then rug. Okay. That would be false move Monday. At the end of the day, I'm very interested in this, and I'd like to see some sort of continuation. The price action in this area is really scammy, in my opinion. So I think patience will prevail. As you can see this morning, even like pump and dump, right? Pump and dump, quick moves. So can we hold, right? If we're going to come back down into this area down below here, I am looking, is that in here? I'm looking sweep at the lows. I'm also looking at, so we have all these levels in here. So golden pocket 786 is always on the table, right? I would like the order block down below here. So the key level, if we're going to bounce and continue, if we're rolling over here, is going to be 83,600, right? So that would be losing this low, maybe retesting, coming down and bouncing, and then trying to take these highs. Okay, if this and that. And it's not to say that we can't go right here. The thing is it looks small right now, but this is 2%. It's a big area, man. It looks small, but it's not, right? It's because of how fast price is moving, right? It's how fast everything is grabbing us, right? So if we can zoom in here and we look here, we're just bouncing off the top of the VWAP right now. So trying to get above VWAP, flip it to support. It's kind of where I'm at. If we can flip it to support, we can look to trade up into this area up in here. Okay, if this, then this. Okay, just trying to be prepared. But looking at the other market, NASDAQ's trying to bounce and push. S&P's trying to bounce and push, right? So we'll see if they do want to bounce and push. But overall, S&P's looking a lot better. NASDAQ, US 100 looking a lot better. Trying to find, some sort of support in here. Okay, so it's Monday. We need to be as prepared as possible. The way I'm looking to do it right now is just to see if we lose the lows in here, right, which would be this low here. Do we bounce out of here? And if we do bounce out of here, then we look to come to the highs. Okay? But right now, very much range bound. Can we get back up and start trading here? This happened really quick. So I would expect possibly if we do get up above VWAP that we would get a retracement and then a rejection if we're going to continue down. So just being prepared right now, right back to basically where we started the day, right? Bitcoin for the day is up 1% really off the lows. So we'll see how it goes. But that's what I'm looking at right now, and I'll share my charts for you guys.
Oh, absolutely. Let's take a look at a couple of other assets here. Let's take a look at hashtag F Ethereum. So Fidelity Ethereum, if you don't know, or if you know, you know. All right. So, am I ready to on F Ethereum? Ah, man, it's been making us money. Not gonna lie, it's been making us money. An important thing that I've seen here, it is a flat top triangle, right? A flat whatever triangle, it doesn't matter. Usually we break at the flatness. So if it's like this, usually we break to the flat area, right? Downwards like that. If the flat is at the top, we usually break the flatness to the top, right? There is a little bit of a caveat here that is not a perfect flat top triangle because of this low in here, right? If I tilt it slightly, you'll see that this could be it turns like kind of like a symmetrical triangle with a breakout, right? So because I see liquidity up above, not in Ethereum, but in Bitcoin, and I believe that we could be ramping upwards to get it, all right? I think that we could be breaking to the upside, rejecting of dynamic reactor, and then coming back down to an area of support. How do I come up with that support? Well, then I have a previous weekly high in there, all right? So breakout retest. Then what else do I have adhered to bounce from? A daily resistance. Not only daily resistance, dynamic reactor, and an order block. This order block is not that significant, but adds to the count, all right? So this is what I'm seeing maybe at this point. Let me just bring back my order blocks because look at where the liquidity is at. That doesn't mean that we're going to be going to get it. But if we fail on breakout retest, keep your eyes, and that's what I brought up in here, this trend line, all right? This trend line, remember the trend lines are the tool by definition to measure the trends. That's why their name is a trend line, right? So if we lose the trend line, we're losing the trend, all right? So the secondary option will be breakout retest on that trend line to the downside and then go grab the liquidity that resides down here somewhere around 1,494. So very straightforward. Not much to do there on the 4 hours. Ethereum, Litecoin, a little bit more in here of the same, but it's a slightly different story. I do see a range in here. Oh, let me just get my oscillator up and running so you can see it, because I believe that this is an oscillator driven movement. Well, it's not the oscillator driven, right? But look at what's happening here again with the compression. We should be breaking to the downside, but I believe Bitcoin could be going over. So then am I going against what I just told you? If I'm going to be breaking to the downside, I believe that we can go here, take these highs, and then burst to the downside. So basically, sweep of the highs. All right, out of a long position. That is why. Sorry, out of a range. That's why, because I mean, and what is that? Because Bitcoin has a liquidity to be grabbed up there. Again, I'm looking at my trend lines. Where are my trend lines? Right here. There is one. If I unlock it, of course, I'll be able to change it. Right, and I am based on this dot and this dot. Do not pay attention to this one because we just cross it.
Dumping.
Yeah, we could be dumping out of that trend line. So be careful. That's why my stop loss is somewhere around here, very close to where I see liquidity can be grabbed. So if I go here, it's not about the breakout. It's about your retest. I close my long into a green position, so in gains. All right, barely into the gains, but still close it right there, and then off we go to continue and grab liquidity down there. So it's going to be a very quick action one, and that's why I have my alert set. Look at the first alert, look at my second alert, and then of course look at this trend line here. I'm going to be adding one more, which is going to be this one. Let's add an alert on that one, create, and I'm going to keep my eyes on Litecoin. So the first thing I'm going to be going for, it is this long right here. In fact, if I can make it, man, I don't know. This thing that is going to dump on me, but still, that's what my strategy is telling me. Long the support, we're above the zero line, right? And we could be having a sweep of the highs. So this is going to be half of an entry, right? Oh, sorry, quarter of an entry at 30x. So yeah, I'm just gonna be waiting for the class to be over and try to get it maybe, or I maybe can get it throughout the class. I'm not sure. Let me see if I can bring on my credentials. Then, of course, we're gonna be skipping OM because what a piece of shit now, right? And at this point, we need to be careful with Binance. Today in the morning, I was telling you, hey, you know what? We could be reaching higher highs, but bouncing off dynamic reactor that is important. And this could be a dead cat bounce. Look at again your trend line. Let's look at your trend line. We are basically creating a higher low. If we lose the trend line, we lose a trend. All right. And we could be having the dead cat bounce, breakout, confirmation, lower low, lower high, and then off we go to where, very easy peasy, where liquidity resides. All right. Where, there we go, soft order block, where liquidity resides. Where trading predictive ranges, where liquidity resides. It's not that hard, guys. Just look at your indicators, see where they're bunching up. That's going to be your target for the future. All right. So just see how is it going on. What is the breaking point? What is your best possible entry zone? And if you go, look at that, Bug. Got away too fast. Oh man, Bug prepared all 6%. A pretty respectable one. Short. Love it, bro. He's short. Nice. All right. So that's what I got on the altcoin side. You guys want to see anything here before we wrap the class up? Or Alex, are you watching any other asset that you may have that you have been maybe aiming or giving the eye to?
Currently, right now, I'm waiting to see that reaction on Bitcoin. See if we can bounce off of this box. I'm going to share my charts with everybody so that they have them, and then see if we do want to come for the highs. Okay. So. Seeing if it holds, I'm going to share my charts with you guys and not really looking at any altcoins right now. I mean, Bitcoin's moving like an altcoin, right? It's very volatile. So reduce your leverage and your margin, right? Give yourself a little bit more wiggle room, like OC says, and trade safe. I mean, it's very scammy price action. Right? It's very all over the place, right? So in, out, take your money, quick, right? Don't let the market bully you, right? Because we want to be safe as possible in these kinds of environment. Environment's so important, right? When you're trading, you need to understand what's going on. Why is the market doing what it's doing? How can I participate while being safe at the same time, right? That's critical if we're going to be successful, right? We want to be successful trading. So these are the things that I really try to practice when trading in this world, right? So it's not meant to be easy, but it can be easier if you do manage your risk and practice that risk management factor, right? You can take more trades, you can take more of your setups, as long as you're managing your risk and protecting yourself. That's going to be critical. We're bouncing off that
Absolutely.
golden pocket right now.
Oh, nice. Nice. All right, guys. So I think that's it. That's what we got for now. Let's wrap the class today. Guys, thank you so much for joining. Alex, I'm so excited to start sending and packing this stuff up, man. I don't know. I had so much fun. I'll send you a DM whenever everything is ready to go. Guys, be careful in the markets. We are going to be having a crazy volatility, especially in lower time frames. Remember to look for your best areas of entry and best areas of exit and play with your strategy. Remember, you're not you don't need to be always in a position, right? Sometimes, as Alex mentioned, not being in a position, it's a position. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for joining and see you guys tomorrow.